All right. Now we've had Josh. Josh was up here a minute ago speaking, and now he gets the very distinct honor of sitting down with somebody that I believe is an unsung hero in the technology industry in the city of Ottawa. He is the CEO of a 10-year-old startup. Shopify's been around for 10 freaking years, and it's finally getting the just desserts that it actually it's meant to have. This is a company that, for all intents and purposes, was nothing until it started to explode. It's a combination of timing and perseverance and absolute technology expertise and savviness. This company has put Ottawa back on the map. When I was growing up in the technology community, there was a company called Nortel that when people would say, well, I would say, like, I'm in the Valley, and I'd say I was from Ottawa, and people would look at me the same way that they look at a crazy person. Well, where the hell is Ottawa? Ottawa is nowhere. If you're not in Silicon Valley, you're nowhere. And I would just simply say, well, the best way I can describe this is I would pick up any phone, and on the bottom of that phone, it said Nortel. And I said, this phone, this is Nortel. This is Ottawa. This was built in Ottawa. This is a company from Ottawa. And then Nortel disappeared. So it was a void for Ottawa. And then what is so amazing is that in this city, in Ottawa, Shopify emerged. Shopify and Tobi emerged as hope for the new generation of entrepreneur. And not only that, to rekindle the brand of Ottawa as some place that can be innovative. And to his credit, he's had many chances to move this company, to move himself, to get out of Ottawa, and he stood firm to the roots in the city. He is here, he's an Ottawa guy. He came to Ottawa, he loves this city, the technology and the company is pretty amazing. And I think that I would like to introduce Josh to come up and introduce Tobi. So please, well-deserved, give these guys a warm recognition, because they're Ottawa grown. Come on, Josh and Tobi.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for having us. This is really, really great. Hey Josh. How did that email sending go? All good?
So I guess I sit in this fuzzy chair?
I don't know. Let's see how we can.
We're very far apart.
Yeah. I come around.
Let's get close. Let's buddy up.
All right, that's good.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Cool.
Great. So earlier today, I talked a little bit about turning your passion into your profession. I'd love if you could just give us the story of how you turned your passion into Shopify.
Yeah, I love that topic. It's like this is my chief. Whenever I talk with people who want to go into entrepreneurship and are pretty early in this process, this is the thing it comes down to. It's like I think like. Success comes from somehow figuring out what your unfair advantages are and then building something around that. So my story is that I moved to Ottawa 15 years ago, completely by random. My now wife is from Ottawa. She was studying here. And because I didn't have, I'm from Germany originally, I didn't have a work permit at the time, so I couldn't actually join anyone else's company, which I only found out after I got job offers. And it was sort of like an aha moment, starting to understand globalization, right from get a front seat to this. And so I started my own company, just sort of selling snowboards, right? Like that's really, like I was snowboarding all day, and I'm a computer programmer. I apprenticed as a computer programmer for Siemens, which is a German company. And so I figured out, hey, if I combine those two things, I can snowboard all day and make money at the same time, which then I can buy more snowboards with, which sounded amazing. So I built this software. Throughout the process, I realized no one has ever built like good software for helping people start online businesses, start a retail business online. Everyone built things so that they could convert multi-million-dollar businesses online. That became Shopify, and that's the company now.
So you basically looked out there and said, this is something that people really need, yet surprisingly, nobody has already built this. It seems kind of crazy. I think most people would have assumed, even back then, that like, oh, of course, businesses want to sell online. Someone's built this tool already. Like, what was that realization like when you saw, like, wait a second, there's nothing here?
A complete exasperation, honestly, because when I started, I looked at every piece of software, and I signed up for every single one of them, and I wanted to use them because I didn't want to code, right? Like I want to snowboard. It wasn't my idea that I'm going to use the technologies so much, and so at some point I just threw it all out and just started. Like a friend of mine from Europe, David Heinemeyer Hansen, told me, hey, I've been working with Ruby and I built this framework called Ruby on Rails. Do you have anything you want to build with that? It would be cool to get more people to try it. And I said, all right, let's start building an online store. And that's sort of the story behind it. If I would have found good software in 2004, I would have never built Shopify, because I just built the software eventually, which I wished I would have found myself.
Well, thank you, Amazon, for screwing up. At least Canada thanks you for sure. So when we talk about startups, a lot of times we talk about the money, the revenue, the product, even the founders and like the founder's history. But one of the questions that I think is too infrequently asked is why? As in, why did you want to make this your legacy? Why did you want to put your entire life into this company?
I honestly didn't.
You didn't? That's not okay. You have to have a good reason.
Dude, I want to snowboard, and I liked. This was the worst thing ever, by the way. I never snowboarded again. It was too much work, right? So this totally didn't.
Your co-founder Harley just sent me a photo of him snowboarding right now. So apparently somebody's at least getting some snowboarding out of Shopify.
That's how Harley and I split our work. He goes snowboarding. I speak on stage. No, it was like, okay, I built Snowboard Store to make some money, found something that like clearly everyone overlooked, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, I can solve this. Built the software, realized, hey, I can't do this completely by myself, needed some people, hired some people. At some point, we almost ran out of money, so I figured out how to get more money from other people so it wouldn't. And then I eventually figured out how to get it to make enough money so I wouldn't have constantly asked people for money, which was also great. Which, by the way, a lot of people in Silicon Valley don't seem to be able to figure out, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Silicon Valley is great at spending money.
Yeah. So being profitable feels really good. I highly recommend it.
You guys are supposed to be profitable in 2017. Still on track?
Yeah. I liked it a lot back when we were profitable, and I promised to be back.
Okay, cool.
So then, I wanted to build the world's best 25 people company. That was my goal, because I thought that was all it needed. And at some point, I realized this has to be a growth company, and then.
But looking a little bit more philosophically, at any point you could have sold this business and already been a success. But there's got to be some reason inside of you that says you wanted to keep doing this, that you wanted to make this your legacy.
Nice.
Why?
Yeah. So honestly, what I love the most about, first of all, I really care about the thing that I'm solving, right? Again, I really like the idea of retail. I always sold stuff to my classmates, it's just, I love, I'm actually perfectly, I'm hat-wearing capitalist, so to speak, right? So I'm cool with that. I love technology, so the company, nourishes me in this way that I help create, there's almost 400,000 businesses out there that use my software every day. That's powerful, right? This is probably a couple million people have jobs because Shopify exists. So that's an amazing thing that we could give back to the world as part of this little journey. But speaking personally, what I love about is the personal growth that comes from this whole thing, right? Dale and I, my co-founder, we had nothing really to suggest that we would be building a successful company. This thing we had, though, was and what ultimately made us go for it is we said, hey, this probably isn't going to work, but no matter what, we're going to learn a lot. And so that really became sort of our rallying cry. We said, okay, we're going to learn a lot. We know we have none of the skills needed, but I think we can figure it out, especially if we help each other. And so we just had sort of this pact that we would always tell each other honestly, like we give each other feedback, even like with no need to cushion it and all this kind of sort of, like we're Germans, so this is much easier for us. We sort of we make this decision to go for this journey together, and we had to learn a million skills along the way, and I love that, right? So this is like I still learn new things every day, and this is the most amazing part about this.
That's actually you downplayed it, but I think that's actually a very beautiful answer to the question of why. Not only just like contributing to the ability for other people to turn their passions into their professions by letting them turn whatever it is they want to make into something they can sell. It's like solving a meta problem, helping all these other people find their passions. But the other thing is just that you wanted to learn, and you knew that startups are just one long learning process. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you sold stuff when you were a kid. I'm really fascinated with this idea with entrepreneurs that a lot of them have these kind of superhero origin stories, where there was something crazy that happened to them when they were a kid that like made them an amazing entrepreneur. Jan Koum, who started WhatsApp, his famous story was that he was from the Ukraine and his family moved here and they didn't have enough money to make long distance phone calls. And he was like, why should it cost money to send like voice data across the planet? It's like really not that tough. It shouldn't cost that much money. And he went on to build WhatsApp, which made it free for people to talk around the world. I knew another guy named Jonathan Downey. He's the founder of a startup called Airware. They make drone operating systems. His parents met when his dad was teaching his mom to fly. They were both pilots. He like, grew up building RC planes and stuff. This is the perfect person to start a drone company. So tell us, was there some story when you were a kid when you were like, oh, I could sell things, but I could also help other people sell things?
Yeah, so there was something like this. It's like what I'm referencing is like. So I always needed lots of money because I was into computers in the 90s, right? They were really expensive. My parents sort of like there was a computer, but it wasn't good enough. And so I kind of had to figure out how to like just like I wanted to spend all my time with computers rather than with humans, actually, to be perfectly honest.
Sorry, I'll see if I can get myself replaced with a robot.
Yeah, I've gotten more tolerant since. But it's... So at some point I just had to realize like I got to the core, like I analyzed this, and at some point came up with this idea that really the core problem of it all is I didn't have enough money. And at which point I went to school with completely different objective, and I saw like all these kids looking at these. Do you remember these really weird books from the like sort of 80s, 90s, where if you like made your eyes like really unsharp, you saw 3D objects?
Oh, the magic eye books.
Yeah. So everyone loved these things, or random stickers and so on. So I just called up I looked at the ISBN, looked it up, called the manufacturer, ordered like a crate of these things. For like you get them for like 80 cents per book, right? Like this is nothing, and then sold them for like $10 each, and it was amazing. I had lots of money for computers. So there's been like this story of me like feeding my technology interest with retail somehow, and my life seems to be revolving around this.
So you learned early enough that there's a lot of opportunity there for